Oh, you want me to sit up? Sorry, I'm a slouching guy. No, I can't do that. That's way too.
Hello, Dallas. It's time to wake up and get wealthy. I'm Terry Ahrens, Group Fitness and Wellness Director with the Aaron Family JCC. And today I have a panel of 3, and we are going to talk about pickleball and find out why it is just exploding out onto the sport and rec scene. So, hello. Hi, guys.
Hey.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And I really appreciate you guys being here. And so we have a panel of 3, and we're going to talk about why pickleball is just really, like I mentioned earlier, exploding onto the sport and rec scene, and how it is one of the fastest growing sports that has come along in a long time. So we have with us today Debbie Bledy, and she is one that's going to have the perspective of Debbie is more of a competitor, and she plays on a competitive team. And then we also have with us today Cheryl Yannick, and Cheryl plays for fun, so she's tapping in on that social element. And we also have Greg Giller over here, and he is a pickleball coach. And so we're going to find out from Greg just on some of the big tips. He's going to share a lot of great stuff with us today on
I charge a lot of money for that.
on how to become better at your game, and also we're going to learn a little bit about why this is just the hot commodity now as far as new activities to participate in. And so, with that being said, like I said, pickleball is everywhere. And so, Cheryl, Debbie, and Greg, first of all, Debbie, tell me, it's everywhere. How did you get involved with this?
Everybody asks us this because we have a court in our backyard. Does this sound crazy to you?
Yes, it
We have
does.
a regulation court in our backyard, and I'll tell you that Barry and I and a group were playing before we felt like it caught fire like this, but it was by accident. Barry and I went to La Costa in California. We looked at the daily activities, and they had a pickleball clinic, and we said, well, why not? We're here on vacation. And the first day, people are playing music, they're playing, it was readily accessible, we had a ball. We are probably not going to be a couple of tennis players, Barry and I. It's a lot of court to cover, which doesn't mean that pickleball isn't incredibly athletic, but it was the right sport for us. And we were so enthusiastic that we wanted a place for our kids and our grandkids and our friends to play, and we built a court, and we probably use it 6 days a week, sometimes 7. We love it.
That's sick.
Sorry.
It's a little over the top. Love it.
Hilarious.
Love it.
And Cheryl, how did you get involved?
So I have a friend who's a member here who kept calling me up and saying, come play pickleball. I'm like, I don't,
Could it be Kathy?
no.
Oh, okay.
So finally, and I'm not a tennis player and not a huge athletic person, but I said, okay, I'll come try it, and just fell in love that first day. And it's a big social event for me. My circle of friends has grown exponentially.
I saw that last Facebook post.
Oh yes, we all went on vacation together last week.
Yeah,
That's right. That's
so
exactly
awesome.
right. So
Yes.
fun.
For
Yes.
pickleball?
Yes.
I didn't get invited.
No. No. 10 of us.
Where'd y'all go?
No, we went to Hermosa Beach.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Next year.
Yeah, it was so
And
fun.
Greg, tell us a little bit how you got involved. Make it brief, because I know you've probably been involved with many court sports, but give us the
Brief, you have to define brief. 30 seconds?
Yes.
All right, so anyway.
elevator pitch.
Elevator pitch. So my brother-in-law and sister live in Bainbridge, strangely enough, the birth of pickleball, and we were there several years ago, and my brother-in-law said, hey, I've got a buddy who has a court in the backyard. It's right up your speed, Greg. You know, it involves a paddle and a ball. So that's what I'm good at. So he actually has built this court right into his driveway. He's an engineer, so there's no cracks or anything. The back of the court is pine trees. The front of the court is his driveway. And then on both sides, he's got trees and shrubs. And it was just like, we went out there, we played it, and it was like, I fell in love with it. It's like totally fun, immediately competitive. We were slamming, volleying each other. And I just said, man, this is a great segue, to tennis and all the other stupid sports I play.
All right. Well,
You want more?
No.
I didn't know if I was over my time.
No. I'll like jump up.
You have the thing that goes
Time out.
next.
No. Okay, so here's something. When you hear the name pickleball, like pickleball, why pickleball? Like, how did it? Do any of you guys know how it got its name? It's kind of odd.
You're throwing it out to the panel.
I'm throwing out to the panel, but I bet our coach Greg can answer.
I can answer that.
All right.
So there's two legends about how that got started. One, which is not very interesting, it's about they said there's a boat called a pickle boat, and it's like the last boat anyway, who cares about that? The other story is much more interesting. I think it's the Cowan family or something like that invented the sport on Bainbridge, and basically the story goes that they have this dog named Pickle, and they have they have one of the wiffle balls, and ostensibly the dog is supposed to go fetch the ball, but in the stories that you read, the dog never brings it back. So I was kind of thinking about this, that when they threw the ball, maybe they said pickle, ball, like go get the ball. This is my extension of the story, probably totally untrue, but anyway, that's kind of how I think, that made more sense to me, and it's a lot more interesting than a story about a boat. So I'm going with that as the correct historical rendition of how pickleball got its name.
Well, I love that there's a dog in that story.
Absolutely. Don't know what kind of...
That's what I'm going to run with.
Yeah.
And so since pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports, I'm kind of curious what makes it unique. Debbie, what makes it unique for you?
The friends around the court, the competitiveness, the ability to form a team around this. For some reason, the actions of playing, the sound of the ball, that honestly, like everybody's like, oh, I love the way the pickleball even sounds. I come closer to a pickleball court and I hear the sound and I'm like, where's the court? Like everything, even from a sensory standpoint, is so fun. And that other word I don't want to use.
Oh, we're going to get to that. But you can hold off for a moment. Were you reading my cue cards? Cheryl,
yeah.
What makes it unique for you?
Because I never played tennis. I have a lot of friends that play tennis. I never really wanted to play tennis. No.
Oh, wow.
So this is new for me, and the same. It's addicting, although I don't play as much as her. And the social part of it, really. I just met the most amazing people.
And Greg, what makes it unique for you?
Brief again?
I'm sorry?
You'll have a 30-second...
Yeah. Everything's 30 seconds with you.
Well, I think that
Today.
I agree with Debbie and certainly Cheryl, but it's a hybrid. It's a competitive sport, it's a fun sport, it's a social sport. And I think the reason that this sport has grown so fast is because it's one of the few sports that is social, and it attracts a really nice group of people. The people that are not so nice kind of get weeded out because people don't want to play with them. It's like, why put my paddle down? Nobody's putting their paddle down. Well, you might want to think about your attitude a little bit. Anyway, main thing is it attracts a really fun group of people, and I think it is as much as it is a competitive sport and an athletic sport, it's a social sport even more so, and people just it's a great way to meet people. I looked at my list on my outgoing constant contact list. I have over 200 people that I probably would have never met through teaching and people that want to be added to the list. And so it's been really fun.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So when I think of hybrid sports, folks, I think of the crossover. So would you say it's closer to a crossover of tennis, badminton, squash. When I think of all my racket sports, I've
Ping
played
pong.
squash, I've played table tennis, badminton. It has like a little bit of that finesse. What would you say if you could pick two of those
Huh?
activities? What two would you think that it crosses over?
I would
as
say
best?
probably tennis, certainly, and ping pong.
Ping pong, table
Yeah.
tennis.
It's
No
it's
squash because the ball
probably
dies.
squash too, and probably racquetball. I mean, it's all those. It's all ball to eye coordination. It's
Right.
all kind of presence on the court and how to move. But it is really, if I were to pick one, I would say tennis, especially as the sport evolves. It's like tennis certainly condensed onto a smaller court, but as people are playing, as the strategy in the sport changes, at first we were hitting it a certain way, now we're hitting it with topspin. We were thinking just get your serve in, now we're driving our serve. So things have changed even in the short time that it's been popular. So I would say more tennis than anything.
Okay, great, thanks. That says a lot. So if you're a tennis player or you are a table tennis, come on and let's
Or
try
even
this.
sitting on the couch and your wife said, "Come on, we got to do something."
There
You know, you got.
Right.
It's a great.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
again, not to belabor a point. It is a great way to meet people of same interests. It's a lot better than I see a lot of young kids in the migration over, hopefully from bars and things like that, to an activity that you can share together. That's healthy. That's fun. During pickleball, you get people's personalities come out. Most of them I like, and it's very enjoyable to see people in a competitive situation, a social situation, and their good naturedness all comes out at the same time, and it's fun. It's funny. You see a lot of idiosyncratic behavior that is good.
Well, speaking on just what you said about, switching out from the bar scene to creating these social activities for our millennials and younger, I was just thinking about now that there's these venues that are popping up. Have any of you guys been to a venue where I look at it as instead of the AKA bowling alley or instead of like a Top Golf,
That's right.
that now there's these venues springing up everywhere that, has the restaurant
Yep.
and the court.
Yep.
Or I'm thinking back in the 90s, it was really popular in some restaurants to throw a sandlot and have volleyball. So now it's evolved into pickleball. Have any of you guys been to, there's a venue here in Dallas?
Yeah,
Anybody
there's
been
the
there?
chicken and
Chicken and
pickle.
pickle.
I haven't been to it yet. Have you been?
Yeah, I've been to the one in San Antonio, and I was thinking, you remember when Dave and Buster's was so popular,
Yes.
and still I suppose is or whatever. This is just a healthier response to people wanting to come to those kinds of venues and do something physical that's better for you. But we went to Chicken and Pickle in San Antonio, and it's a lot of fun, and they have their own lessons, and there's just. But as cool as all of that is, I'm not as much about the eating part. I'm as much about the playing part, which is why I really
That
love
sounds like
Greg's.
That's so you.
Which is why I love like Greg's, open time where we can all just come play. I'll go eat French fries later, but I like to play.
That was it.
Debbie,
of course. That just sounds just like
Well,
you.
I wanted to add a little something to that. I mean, Chicken and Pickles is brilliant because basically whoever came up with it was, I'm going to combine this sport with a bar and good food. I mean, that was the key. And it's not bowling where you actually think you're better when you've had a few beers and you start bowling.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of drink in moderation when you play pickleball because you're really not better if you're drinking.
That's right.
But the combination of the two and having, having activities while you're drinking or eating and something to participate in makes it really, really the perfect concept.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exciting to have that concept out there and to rethink different ways to get families together, to get just friends together and have fun and keep active. And that's what we're
And to
about
meet
here at the
people.
J.
The other thing
keep
is
active.
like people that have had troubles, in tennis, where their knees are bad or their shoulders bad or their hands bad or whatever. This is a sport that you can actually do with some mobility that you're probably not going to get more injured than where you were, and gives you something to do with your spouse, your girlfriend, your brother and sister, whatever. It's one of the few sports that's still active because it's mainly played, it's doubles, and so you get an opportunity to do something that, you know, you were like after tennis or after whatever sport you're playing, football, whatever, your body's beat up and you need something to do.
Yeah.
I would add that a pickleball court is 1/4 the size of a tennis court. So, you know, there's a lot of kind of quick moving from side to side.
Right.
But if you are restricted from running a whole lot on a tennis court, this is a good answer, just to piggyback on what Greg was saying.
Yeah.
And also the fact that I know so many couples now that are playing together, and having so many friends that have pickleball courts in their backyards, or it's easy at other locations. You know, I'm playing with my husband now, and we go over to a friend's house and play on their court, the husband and wife.
Actually, it's kind of like
awesome.
it's kind of like marriage counseling. If you
It
think
is.
about it, it may either extend
Or
your-
not, or
it may
you need it.
extend it, or it
Right.
may bring it to a quick halt.
Right,
I
right,
can
right.
see.
There's some of that. There's some of that. I've
And
seen
you're
some of
very
that.
competitive.
Depending on how much testosterone's on the court.
Yeah.
And it looks
No,
like
no.
this.
My court.
Well, Cheryl, I have something for you. This is
Okay.
just for you, the A-listers. The A-listers, I've been reading, you know, in lots of articles that the A-listers are really hot on pickleball. And they're even, which I can't believe, they're giving up their yoga and their Pilates classes, which they should be cross-training, but we'll talk about that
Yeah.
later. But anyways, as an A-lister, Cheryl.
Oh, I'm an
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Um,
What do you think about the A-listers?
I've never heard of the A-listers. Now I am
Okay.
one. I better find out what it is.
The folks of Hollywood, they are just out
Oh.
there, and they're giving up their Pilates though and their yoga.
Okay,
and,
well,
and jumping
no.
on the bandwagon.
No, I mean, we had talked about this before. I mean, I do other activities besides pickleball, and it helps. So if I didn't do Pilates, yoga, you know, weightlifting, any of that stuff, I'd probably be really bad. And everyone I know is also doing other things too. I mean, A-listers.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in.
Yes, that's why I directed
Okay,
that right
thank
to
you.
you. I
made my
consider
whole
the
day.
A-list.
My whole day.
So, Greg, if we were, be brief, if we were
That's impossible, sorry. How long is the session?
Five basic rules. I know there's probably hundreds of rules
Oh,
with
God.
pickleball, but if you were going to pick up your 5 key basic rules and you were going to give us an elevator pitch on those 5 rules, what would the 5 biggest rules that you would tell a beginner that they would need
Ooh,
to
this is delicious.
understand?
This is
Well,
delicious.
Debbie already knows
all
the
ears.
answer to this, but here's the thing. I tell people that I give lessons to, and the teams I teach, and everything, and the mixers that I do. I said, you know what? I could put these on a loop for you guys on a recording and play them over and over and over again, because there's really about 10 things. But if I were to pick out 5 things that I'm preaching all the time, that I don't even see the pros. One of them, I don't see the pros pitching as much as they should, and everybody knows, because one of my students is doing a T-shirt with all my whatever,
Oh, that's
one of my stupid statements. Anyway, number 1, keep your head down.
right.
Oh, yes.
And this is true in every sport. If you're not watching the ball hit your paddle, you know, something bad, just like they say in golf. If you're looking up, you're probably looking at a bad shot, and there's no other sport that applies to more. I can't tell you how many times balls are missed because people don't keep their head down. Number 2 is to get your feet in position to hit the ball. So people think that if the ball's over here, I just need to do that. No, you need to move over to the ball to make sure you get the ball back. Number 3, and again, this is detailed to pickleball, is I teach people to stand back on the serve. What a tendency is, when somebody hits a serve, they have a tendency to stand on, you know, what we call the baseline, and the problem is it shortens up your return. So if you'll stand back, and then of course another that is specific to pickleball is hitting a third shot drop. Those that don't know what a third shot drop is, basically it's the third shot you hit after a serve, the return, that third shot, learning how to hit the third shot into the kitchen. For those of you who don't know that, you'll have to Google it. But anyway, hitting that shot into there, and then the most important thing, and people hear me yell about this a lot, but it is the biggest part of the game, other than the things that I mentioned, is you've got to get to the no volley zone. You've got to get to the kitchen on your return.
Yeah.
What happens is you need to be unified with your partner up at that area. Otherwise, you create too much space for your opponent to hit the ball. And the one thing this sport gives you is when you're returning, getting to that no volley zone puts you on offense. And you've got to get to it right after you return. All right, was that brief enough?
Yes, it was. And if you could explain to our viewers exactly what is the kitchen. I was, for the first time, playing with my family, and somebody said on the court next, hey, get out of the kitchen. I was like, I'm happy to never be in the kitchen. Right,
yeah, totally.
So anyway,
So tell me,
it goes by
Am I gonna burn up?
it goes by a lot of names that I can't say in this recording because I guess it's live. But anyway,
Yes.
there's an area of the court. There's an area that's marked out. It's about 3.5 feet, I think, from each side of the net. And you'll see this blue line or yellow line or pink line or whatever court you're playing on that goes around on both sides of the court. And that area is called the kitchen. And so in this area is the area where you want to get to. So if you're volleying, which is hitting the ball out of the air, getting to that area creates better opportunities for you because you have to stand your 3.5 feet behind the net or whatever the dimension is. I don't know. I'm saying that, but I don't know for sure. And then the other big part of the game, without getting into a lot of detail, is dinking. So getting up to that area, if you watch it, if you Google it or whatever platform you use, if you'll get up, if all 4 people are up there, this is where the game is won, at the kitchen. It's also called the no volley zone for the reason is a volley is hitting the ball out of the air. If somebody hits you a ball, you cannot step into that area if you hit it in the air. So it goes by 2 names, and easier to remember for me, no volley zone, because I say don't, or I sometimes call it the militarized zone. Don't step in there if you're hitting the ball out of the air.
Okay, so
From that area.
do you know how it got that name?
The kitchen,
Yeah, kitchen.
well, stay out of it.
Maybe
I can make up a story that I always hear stay out of the kitchen. But no, I actually don't know that. But that's I'll revert back to you the next time we do this,
All right.
which will probably be in about 5 years, right?
No. Well, okay, and for our viewers too, I guess the other term that you hear often is the dink. Explain exactly what is the dink?
So the dink is when a ball up in the kitchen area, typically the area that's outlined by these lines, is typically when the ball bounces in that area or a little bit behind it, it's hitting the ball underhand softly back to your opponent or making your opponent move left to right. Typically another point that I always teach is hit it to their backhands. There's very few, or their left side, or if they're left-handed, the right side. Hit it to their backhand. This is the more difficult shot to return. But a dink is basically a ball bounces, let's say in front of you, you're up at the kitchen or the no volley zone, and you hit the ball back and you try to hit the ball back in front of them. And I call it, so here's paddle, I call it panhandle like this. You want to flatten your paddle out and hit the ball back over the net comfortably, have it bounce in front of your opponent so they have to hit it back over the net. The key is hitting it in front of them. Anytime you hit a ball in front of them, they have to lift it back over the net, which creates an opportunity for your team.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does. Yes. Thanks so much for
I was
sharing that.
I was under my time too.
Yeah, you're doing really great. Everybody's doing awesome. So when we're talking, and this is something that I think you and I can chime in on together. Speaking of kitchen, there's the thing as far as just for any athletic endeavor, and that would be, in regards to your metabolism and how there's lots of information out there how as we become older that our metabolism will slow down. And so grab a paddle and get out there and look at ways to get involved with pickleball, because that will increase your metabolism just because it's an activity that is one of those that's going to make you move. And as far as different ways to achieve that movement, flexibility. You know,
Right.
we can look at, for example, strength training. That increases metabolism, but it's also going to increase, if you look at it in a way that you're going to train like your glutes and your calves and your thighs, you're going to be able to have better net shots. So I think that's what you were talking about, the dinks. So you're going to be able to kind of bend a little better and get a stronger shot. But then secondly, when we look at mindfulness, that's another part, you know, as we want to, you know, have the metabolism working, but we also want to learn how to be stress-free in our everyday life. So mindfulness classes would be another one, Deb, and that's something that you do here. Not only thinking about breathing, but you need that breathing and control breathing when you're playing pickleball, right?
And I'll tell you what happens to me in pickleball. I'll be in a match, and if for 1 second my mind drifts to what we're doing after this or what my day holds after this, the shot's over, I've lost it.
Right.
That's total mindfulness. Well, where do you get the practice for that? Because it's not so easy to focus the mind that intensely. And one of the places you get the practice is a class like you have and a class like I have, where you're like reps and you can notice yourself going off that trail and thinking of other things. And in those classes, you know, you're not going to get hit kind of right here with a ball, so you get to say to yourself, okay, I've lost my mindfulness moment here. I need to just come back to the breath and pay attention to this weight that I'm lifting or that squat or whatever. But you're right, that's a great training ground for the court.
And another training ground would be high intensity interval training. It's going to be the short burst of energy, and by having the short burst of energy, you're going to be able to react quicker and faster, and that too would elevate your game. And finally, the other thing about that from day to day, we want to look at ways, as far as the physical fitness components, we want to look at ways to manage stress, and not only through mindfulness, but also just simply finding activities that are fun, finding the fun factor, and that's going to allow you to manage stress. And it sounds like that you guys are just having so much fun out there on the court, whether it's competitive or whether it's just for, not just, but for the social element, and then you as the coach. So again, just managing our day-to-day, our lifestyle activities will just create a happier, healthier you.
One thing I'd like to add, and on to kind of piggyback what they were talking about, is one thing that I do in all the sports I play, and what I tell people to do is, look, focus on when you start straying and you're worried about the point or people over here or whatever's going on. If you will learn to focus on the ball, watch the ball, tell yourself, watch the ball, don't worry about anything else. If you will do that thing, that will put you hopefully back in where you need to be. I don't know if the word's namaste, whatever the word is that relates to yoga and all that, it gets you back, it centers you. If you'll learn that little trick of...
Nice.
Stop. Did I just hear Greg say?
I
Is Greg teaching yoga right now? Because I'm going to come across the room right now.
I'm there, I'm in the moment.
It must be the vibes right now.
I'm a hybrid kind of guy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, Cheryl, since you play more for the social fulfillment, how often do you play?
Well, I play at least 2 times a week,
Okay,
if
2
not
times?
more.
I'll take the over.
Huh? You'll take the over?
No, I'm just joking.
So I play in a Tuesday drill session. I play in Greg's mixers, which Greg has taught me a lot, which is great. We're also, we have a Group Me app, and someone will, write in there who wants to play pickleball this afternoon, and everyone will say, oh, I'll play, or, whatever. That's how we get groups together. It's just, we just always have text exchanges. Who wants to go play? And everyone.
You're going to have to include me in those texts coming
Yeah.
moving forward.
We're gonna
Yes.
get her. We're gonna get her.
And Debbie, now you play competitively. You kind of play for blood. I'm just kidding. And so,
I will be playing with her.
Let me ask you,
A lot.
how many times a week do you play?
Probably 6.
6 out of 7?
I'll take the over there.
6 times a week?
Probably
Okay,
6 times.
so, there's this thing called addiction.
Huh.
Do you have the PBA?
It's bad.
Well, there's worse things to be addicted
There's
to.
worse things, but in our groups of friends and things, it used to be that we would all talk about, when can we all have dinner out? Or what can we bring to your house for the casserole party or something like that? And now we really exercise together, which is, I think, what you're talking about
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
getting together for that. I really did want to add one more thing to your health benefits, because I was shocked when I told my physician that I'm playing pickleball, and I said, it's, I'm doing yoga still. It's my very first love in the world. If I had to pick one, yoga really is my heart. And you know what she said? Don't stop playing pickleball. She said, you keep pounding those bones. This is beautiful bone density work for you as you age. And I just said, and I hadn't considered that before. But, along with the metabolism and everything else, that bone density work that we get in all of your strength classes too. And I just didn't want to forget to bring that up, because I guess I was surprised by that.
Yeah, bone density. Just even small, little, impactful movements are really good. So you have to always think of just even some movements, like a small, light plyometrics movement is really good for your bones. A lot of people want to stray away from that, but it's really good for bone density. So, here at the J, we just seem to be hitting all the right angles.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a shot? Is that a shot?
We'll say yes.
Okay, thanks. So here's something really exciting, and I was curious if any of you guys have any information on this. I understand that the schools are also adopting, as part of their physical movement programs, their physical education programs, that they're adopting pickleball into the school systems. Anything happening here in any of our districts around Dallas or private schools? Do any of you guys know?
I don't know. My kids are all grown out of the schools. I don't know what's happening,
Yeah,
but
Greg,
I
have
bet.
you heard anything?
I'm sure there is, but I haven't tracked that. I noticed that on the email that you sent me that you talked about that, and I think that's great, and I think it's a great activity. And again, it for people that don't want to play, varsity sports and stuff like that. It's a natural thing to be able to do for these kids to get together and have an activity that's fun. The camp I went to as a kid, we started it up there, and it's gone crazy. It's become an event. So it's like not just kids, schools, camps, everywhere. It's invading all parts of our society.
Yeah.
So this, I'm going to direct to you, Greg.
Okay?
With the sport just exploding as it is, there must be injuries coming along the way.
Glad you brought that up, Terry.
So tell me, what are some of the most common injuries happening right now?
Well,
I bet I could guess, but I'll let you.
Look, I'm sure the orthopedists love us. We're the next thing from, what was the sport, when skateboards came out. Everybody came out, I could skateboard, they didn't have wrist guards or helmets and da-da-da. The orthopedists love that. Anyway, there are injuries, but here are the main things. Is the one thing that I preach all the time is wear tennis shoes. I was like, this is a court sport.
Yeah.
Walking shoes okay? No. Running shoes okay? No. Tennis shoes. You're on a court shoes.
Court shoes.
You got to have something that grips the court, that allows you to move laterally, da-da-da. So I've seen lots of injuries like that. So the first thing I tell people is, I don't care about your paddle. I got paddles. Wear tennis shoes. That's number one. Number two is stay hydrated. I think we were talking about that, especially as we get into summer. Drink a lot of water. Look, people get exhausted. People sweat. Cramps as a result. Drink pickle juice, whatever. I think the other thing is sometimes people try to do more than they can do. And I think when you run into that kind of situation, that's where you see injuries. And then the other thing that I always preach is an overhead, which is hitting a ball over your head. A lot of people go straight back. In other words, you need to turn your side to the net when you're doing that. What happens is I've seen so many people go straight back, they're looking up, they lose their balance, they fall back. So these are things that I preach to everybody, not that they're going to listen to me, but I at least tell them to, look, be mindful of your body, what you do. Don't do more than you can do. And, don't, look, maybe I always say is, don't get hurt on my time, and I try to at least give them direction of when you're out playing, be smart, and then also the other thing, Al, other little injuries happen is when you're in the moment. One of the other things that I preach all the time is, because a lot of times you've got a partner, balls go down the middle. Say mine, yours. This avoids conflict. This avoids bodies running into each other, even up at the no volley zone or the kitchen. Mine, yours. This may avoid you getting hit in the head by a paddle or a body that's bigger than yours or something like that.
Right.
And good news on the injury front. I mean, Barry's getting his cast off today.
Oh my
So
God.
that is
Injury
fantastic.
because of pickleball.
No.
Oh.
But, you know, it was the best of a crummy situation. You know, you kind of roll to get a ball or something, and he caught himself with his left hand. And it wasn't even terrible. He moved on, and, you know, we were going to try to see if it kind of healed itself. And anyway, but it was just a tendon, a little bitty tendon. But a little bitty tendon equals a pretty big cast.
Yeah.
But he's getting it off today. So there are pickleball injuries, and I watch a lot of people come back from those injuries. On my team, I've seen a couple of rotator cuff surgeries. And people are successfully rehabbing and coming back because there is some wear and tear on the joints, especially our tennis players. They like a big swing, you know, and stuff like that. So I'm seeing some pickleball injuries.
But they may have
for
had
sure.
that coming
Yeah, I was
before.
gonna
In other
say
words,
that.
I would doubt
That's
it,
exactly
because
right.
I don't think a lot of, I think
That's right.
that injury was just something that just got exacerbated by
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
pickleball.
That's such a
I
good
don't
point.
see,
Underlying causes.
you know, I don't see that many. I'm not saying that they're not. I don't see that many new knee injuries that happen because of this.
I
But
haven't seen any.
I really, I would say that it's one of the least, other than, you know, if you call bowling a sport or whatever. There's not, you know, as many indigenous injuries that happen, if that's the right word, for pickleball. I mean, I just, you know, I don't see it, other than not wearing the right shoes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Little things
So-
like that.
What about the, like, for example, indicative of our industry, the fitness industry, there's certifications and lots of different ongoing education. So share with our viewers, what if I want to pick up a paddle today and I'm thinking, all right, now I need to get a coach. What do I look for in terms of hiring the right coach? Are there credentials involved, or is it just like, hey,
Absolutely, there are credentials involved, but I think mainly for any sport that you're looking for a coach for is find somebody that's relatable, somebody that you're comfortable with. Because after all, it is a sport, it's fun. So you want to have fun. You want to be competitive. You want to be Debbie Levy. I understand that. you want to win. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. But and as I explained to everybody, all I'm trying to do is get you so that you can play in other people's sandbox, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's more about, I want to play with them. I want to play with better players, and that's the main thing. And then find somebody that's, you know, that can break it down, that makes it easy. That none of us are quitting our day jobs. I've had some people talk about turning pro, and I go, you're not going to make any money playing this sport pro, but you're going to have a good time and have a coach that you have fun with, that can teach you and that doesn't push you too much, but gives you homework. And then as long as you practice, you get better. But it's more about having somebody that you're comfortable with, that they can, you know, break down what you do to make you a better player.
So speaking about going pro, there's a lot of discussion out there. It's floating in the universe about 2028, the LA Games. What do you guys think pickleball's going to be? Will it come in as an exhibition, or will it come in just as a new entity?
Let me tell you, I absolutely think it should be there. I mean, I'm looking at all, you know, we look at the Summer Olympics and we look at the Winter Olympics. I mean, look, curling's great. We all love it. You know, come on, these are
Strategy.
you know, whatever.
There's a lot of strategy.
I get it. I watch 24 hours a day if I could during the Olympics, but you know what? Pickleball I would certainly be there, I would think. I mean, in ping pong, wonderful sport. I mean, look where they've taken badminton to. Look where they've taken ping pong to in the Olympics. Certainly pickleball has all those qualities, and it's so relatable, to use the word I used earlier, is that, you know, you got all these people playing. They want to see it at super high level. So yeah, I would think certainly by then it will be an official sport for the Summer Olympics. I would think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Debbie?
Yeah.
Cheryl?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Greg, everything.
Will I see you guys there?
Oh, gosh.
No.
No, Debbie, maybe her.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Spectator. Well, by then I'll be 70. I'll be like 70. Let's see, what are we, 22, 20? I'll be 71, so yeah, over 70, so I might be pretty competitive.
Yeah.
But no, I'll be a spectator on TV.
Can I give a special shout out since we're having this pickleball? One thing we haven't talked about that I think Greg is really proud of, and I'm proud to be a part of, is that we have 2 teams here at the JCC, and that is special and spectacular. And shout out to the Net Assets, and shout out to the Social Dinkers. Social Dinkers captain is that's right, Suzanne David, and Net Assets captain is Valerie Halpern. And I'm going to tell you, behind the scenes, one thing we don't know as we're just kind of hanging out is the work of a captain to lead a team like this is monumental, and Greg's guidance, of course, is imperative. But the J has 2 competitive teams, and we're out there practicing and working, and we're very grateful for our coach.
I will say this, that once, sometime in the distant future, hopefully before the 28 Olympics, hopefully there'll be some dedicated courts out here if that ever happens. And if you have that, you could have 10 teams out here. I mean, it's that popular out here, and it's a joy. I have fun coaching the girls. It's totally fun. They're super competitive, and as I told Val and as I told Suzanne, literally, if you put $1,000 on the floor right now, I would not coach a team. I would not captain a team. I'm happy to coach a team, but what they do is like,
Wow.
wonderful. I mean, they're a great group of women, but you have, things going on and scheduling, and
It's a lot of
I'm
work.
out of town.
Or
and
rain out. Yeah, it rains.
It rains, or it's windy, or they're drilling on the pool, or whatever.
So do you guys ever take that indoors? Because we do have 3 basketball courts, so in areas or facilities that have indoor space, that's another thing for our viewers. It's not just only played outdoors, but we also do have, and pickleball can be played indoors. Do you guys ever play competitively indoors, or is it always just outside?
Well, I was going to mention your A-listers that you brought up, because I've seen in posts recently that some of the stars have built their courts inside, and they all have the personality of, these superstars or whatever, but I don't play inside too much. But when it was, when we were having that little Dallas snow, sometimes I'm like, I really love to be out in the sunshine or whatever, but then it's like day 3, and then we're just like, so what time can we get the gym at the J?
Yeah. I've played indoors here many times, or Churchill, or Fred's Park. They'll, 1 or 2 days a week, they open up their gyms and put the pickleball nets up. So it's not as fun. But if it's snowing out or raining out, it gets the job done. Yeah.
Being outside is good.
Yeah.
But I guess then also technically there's going to be like surface changes. So like the indoor versus, so you have to really, for somebody competitive like you have to adapt
The ball
to that
changes.
like, quickly. Yeah, to that.
Right.
The
surface
ball
change.
is different.
Yeah.
Lighting is different.
And the lines, you're using basketball courts, so the lines are already painted for the basketball courts,
Right.
and then they paint lines for the pickleball court, so you kind of have to.
Well, doesn't that happen outside with tennis? Aren't there like 2
Yeah,
sets of
but
lines?
there's
only
more
one-
basketball.
There's only one line. We've got like looks like a Pythagorean or one of the geometric theorems out. It is like solve this.
Yeah.
There's like 8 lines. It's a lot.
Yeah,
Well, there's volleyball line. There's not only basketball, but we have volleyball lines.
Right.
Yes.
Other things going. Yeah,
We just say
sports.
it's just the outside line.
Yeah.
Debbie, Cheryl, Greg, do you guys have anything else to add?
I wondered if we should show a pickleball, because people always ask me, what does that ball look like?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
great. And here's what paddles look like. And Greg, I guess there's like just like anything else, shoes, paddles. There's various levels of types of paddles, from
Yes.
like a wooden one all the way up to what's like the high-end paddle these days, and what's it going for?
I've seen people spend $200, $250. Look, I will say this, for the manufacturers of these paddles, they are making an absolute fortune. Because economy of scale, I mean, basically these are what they call honeycomb center. They've made them thicker and they are better. And they've also made the surface more texture. So what I always tell people kind of generically is, if you're going to buy a paddle, certainly look at the reviews. You're probably going to spend initially $70 or $80, but the reality is, if you go from there, you're probably going to end up spending $140, $150, primarily because the paddles are better and they last longer. And so it doesn't. Excuse me. It's just like a tennis racket or golf clubs or whatever. Whatever incrementally makes you better, you're going to probably want to have. And the people that manufacture these paddles have figured that out. They know how to make you addictive. Buy our next generation E25. Engage, whatever. They figured it out.
Yeah.
They're smart.
And I just want to say, take advantage of the mixers. Greg has them every week here at the J. I have learned so much. I've met so many people, and you're constantly playing with new people. You may meet your friends here, but you're playing with new people. Just take advantage of all the outdoor public parks. Just go play. Put your paddle out there and just play as much as you can, and that's the best way to learn. Yeah.
And the ball.
The ball.
Wiffle ball.
There it is.
Yeah, just
There
a
it
regular wiffle ball.
It's a wiffle ball. There was not much.
Very much.
That's one of the first things I showed.
Like squash?
I take a tennis ball and I take a wiffle ball and I bounce them next to each other and I say, okay, what did you notice there? Well, of course, the pickleball does not bounce very high. What does that mean? You're going to have to bend down to the ball.
You have to carry strength to find
get some stretching.
And yoga.
Yeah, and yoga. I mean, you need to do these things because the sport, although it is simpler than some other sports, it does require a great degree of stretching or bending and flexibility. So these things are super important, not only to be a better player, but to avoid injury.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the problems is these people, my generation or whatever, look, stretch, do some things, prepare. Don't think you can just go out onto this court and not get hurt. Prepare your body for this, and you'll be, not only will you hopefully avoid injury, but you'll probably have more fun, and you'll probably be a better player. The more flexibility you have, the better you can move laterally, those kind of things, and bend. These are things that are going to benefit you.
Yes, Greg, I'm so glad you said that because I know somebody that plays pickleball, and I was there one day when they were, just from walking into the area where they were going to play, and they just got on the court and started playing, and I'm like, you didn't stretch, you didn't do anything, no wonder why you are now injured. So I'm glad that you're reminding, whether it's on the social end or the competitive end, that you get a little warm up in and you take that, to yourself to protect yourself. So warm up before you start playing. It's a really smart
Probably
thing to
stretch. I would say stretching would probably be, just like every sport like this, any sport that involves movement, stretching.
Right.
Be the most flexible you can be. Like you said, take a few minutes and warm up, no matter who you are. Because once you're injured, just like any sport, calf, ankle, knee, you're injured for a while. It takes you away from an activity you want to do. So take a few minutes, and even during the week when you're not doing it, go to Debbie's class, go to your class, go to wherever,
all of our classes.
go to all the classes and do some things.
Heart rate.
Yeah, get your heart rate up. Do some things that will benefit you. So when you go out there, and wear tennis shoes, have your body prepared for what can be as time goes on, and the more you play a strenuous sport.
Right. And the best way to warm up is, like you just said, to prepare your body for any activity, whether it be sports specific or not, is to first, do something that's going to get the heart rate up, to get the blood flow, and then stretch. And allow the stretches to flow as opposed to holding a static stretch. Save the static stretch at the end. I'm not sure if you guys do this, but at the very end of your session or your game, that's the best time. Take a moment and get a deep hamstring stretch. Those are the moments that you're going to make flexibility gains.
Think about it. I may start incorporating that in my mixer. Make everybody.
You can.
Come out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I actually should do that. From a lot of standpoints, and just like we're going to take. I'm out there for 2 hours, so everybody gets there their quota of pickleball. So 5-minute stretch would probably be well advised for everybody
Yeah.
before we get started. So I think I will incorporate that.
Yeah,
I do
so
it down
first
the
heart
road,
rate
yeah.
and then the stretch piece in that
Yeah.
order.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
get the blood flowing first.
Jumping jacks.
Movement,
Yeah.
lateral movement,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
kinds of things.
Yeah.
Up dog,
Great
down
idea.
dog.
Well, a down dog is one thing I really do on the court.
Yeah.
Because it just lets my spine go.
Yeah.
And so before I play, you wake up and you're kind of like this.
Yep.
And a down dog kind of just lets me open up before I play. That's
Yep,
kind of
smart.
a must.
Good
I
idea.
have to do that before I. But yeah, that's feels good.
Nice.
Feels good.
Smart.
Well,
Yeah.
do you guys have anything else to add for our viewers?
Go play.
Go play.
Yeah.
My thing is just that since I have been back in Dallas about a decade now, the J has been the center of my joy. Terry knows this well because she was my first contact when I got here saying, please could I audition for you? Please could I audition for you? I cannot believe that yoga and pickleball are my two favorite things to do in the world, and here they are for me at the J. I just can't say enough. I feel lucky and happy to be a part of Greg's program, Terry's program, to sit here together, you and I, and get to visit about pickleball. And as usual, the J leads the way in being a place where, for me, it's the center of my joy, really. That's all I can
Thanks,
say.
Debbie. That's like the
Well
center.
said.
Yeah,
Well said.
nice.
Yeah.
Greg, anything else to add?
No, I mean, I think I echo those same things. The best thing about this thing, about pickleball and all the other activities out here is, look, you get an opportunity to make some friends. You'll get an opportunity to meet people, increase your heart rate, increase things that you do that are fun with other people and things like that. So that's the big thing is this is an activity that is a social activity and is a great way to meet people and to, get exercise. So I'm glad it's here, and certainly the J has been wonderful extending me this opportunity. And it was just like I tell people, it was like, a bonfire just waiting for a match. I mean, there were people who just, it wasn't like I did anything magic. It was just, everybody just needed somebody to organize it, and people have been, and I'll say another thing about the J is the people are super nice. They are inclusive, tennis staff, everybody. They are just, everybody's embraced it, has made it easier for me, made it easier for the players, and supported, and that's what makes it fun out here. And like I said, nice people. Everybody's inclusive. Other places you can go can be very territorial, can be very cliquey. Here, not so much. People are like, come play. And that's the unique thing about the J is, and I think in everything, whether it's swimming or yoga or whatever classes you're doing, people are inclusive. People are genuinely nice, and that's a rare commodity to have at any type of center.
That's true. The J is all about community first. And we're really fortunate, and I'm so fortunate to have you three, here today, talking about pickleball, talking about the JCC, and all the amazing accomplishments and things that we can do together, because we are stronger as a community when we are one unit. So thank you guys for jumping in on this.
Yeah.
Look forward to playing with you.
Yeah. And for our viewers, remember, when you wake up, it's time to wake up and get wealthy, and we'll see you next time. And thanks for tuning in today. I'm Terry Ahrens with this great panel, and we're saying bye.
Bye.